what I would like to do is I'd like to, for each of you, please, to introduce yourself and a little bit about your background, and then start your presentation. And then after we're done, then we'll take some questions and answers. And so we'll do a real free form here, and we do want to get done in 1 hour. So let's try that. So, Dr. Leoung, if you'd like to start.
Dễ chân dễ chơi về xa Khmer nữa. Khiêm xong chụp điệp xua lâu lộc say từ ngõ đà miền quạt từ miền đà tí ní. Ai khiêm sẽ bá chặt bên tên đã làm mà chụp chung lâu lộc say từ ngõ đà tí ní. Tại mình khiêm dễ khiêm xong tutul school Boder Prof khiêm tutul tha chữ nhẹ. Chả tung hay đặc nom khiêm bàn mà lọt tí đi xong lâu cũng chơi cặp chó đây khiêm hàng chung lâu cái là lâu chân đá tăng xong chơi cặp chó quạt chia áp vào thiên mà cũng mà một nhiều hai lâu kiếm tân giác xong chơi cặp chó lâu quạt chia thiên mà cũng mà ở nói muốn khiêm hai nhưng lô composite xong chơi con châu đá và con chia executive director pe sai sắp chân năm bạn họ còn nhóm cứ chiaประเทศสมาคมขมายในรัฐอิลลินอยส์ปัจจุบันนี้เรานึกkhiêm châu từ thơm điปีหายkhiêmส้มประเทศทาkhiêm chiaเนี่ยยุคkhiêmชราหน้าตาkhiêmเรียนปีกลายบองปีมุนมาkhiêmโดยฉะนั้นkhiêmทรงปรัชญาจัตถาkhiêmหนึ่งบ่มร้าขมายสหกรณ์ขมายยืงหนึ่งประเทศขมายอภิจัดให้เอาไว้ได้khiêmอ่านลือโลกประเทศรัตพลนิยนึกkhiêmก็โยนพร้อมช่วยก็ได้โดยซาไว้ได้khiêmอ่านปีศาจตัวลูกkhiêmคือถ้าkhiêmไม่แม้จะพุทธบริษัทเต้khiêmคือจะคริสต์บริษัทคือบริษัทได้khiêmสมทลายเหมือนติ๊กคือถ้ายืมโดพิขนมโคลนไอโดยเราเป็นภาษาเจิ้งคือถ้ายืมโดพิขนมโคลนไอมันเอาไอ้เกมาโดพิขราบานเต้บาเชื่อยืมโดพิขนมขี้เมียนน่ะไอมาโดยังบานเต้อุติหอกขี้ยมยืมต่อคือถ้าขี้ยมคอนวิกโคลนขี้ยมคือถ้าขี้ยมมันนาเมียนใส่ยีเต้ขี้ยมมาจีวัดขี้ยมคือถ้าบอกคนขี้ยมคือแต่เมื่อก่อนตัวไปเมียนใส่รอบร้อยก็ขี้ยมมันเติมกับบานะไอ้ขี้ยมตัวสักมาดาวดองขี้ยมได้คือกระเอาเคยามาเต้อันนี้คือคอนวิกชันใจพิขนมมาอันนั้นคือจะการพลัดโดยึดแต่ซะทำให้การเปลี่ยนเชื้อคล้ายคือถ้ายังเติมโดพิขนมหายังเติมเลี้ยงบ้องทรัพย์สมบัติทุนเทียนแต่อ๋อทำให้ยึดทำให้สัตว์ยึดคือถ้ายังเติมเลี้ยงบ้องยังเติมอ่างเลยถ้าrepent ให้หนึ่งrepent นั่นคือถ้ายังโดไปแต่ยังเมียนี่คือถ้ายังโดบางส่วนยังมันโดเต้ยังอาจขายเติมเชื้อไว้แต่ยังจังบ้านเต้โดยลงรัฐบาลก่อนเป็นภาษาไทยก่อนบ้านเลี้ยงบ้องเอาไว้ยังใบยานึงเขียบานเลี้ยงบางโลดพรำกับมวยจ่าปันเขียมมันจังอย่าชาเต้ก็ถ้าไว้คือโลกใส่เมียนภาษานั่นคือเติมเติมก็ถ้าอยากโดบ้านก็ซึ่งยึงโดปิดขนมบาสมองคนจุดส่งจีบสู้บองโผล่ยืนถึงเขาไอ้กระส่งหับบองนะโผล่แต่เราไม่ได้จะไปฉลองนั่งก็ได้เมื่อแบบโจกรันติดท้องជាដំបូងខ្ញុំសូមអរគុណអង្គការ OKS ដែលបានយើងខ្ញុំមកចូលរួមក្នុងកម្មវិធីថ្ងៃនេះហើយជាមហាកិត្តិយសមួយដែរពួកខ្ញុំបានចូលរួមប្រហែលនិយាយតាមការពិតទៅថាច្រើនចូលសាសើរមិនបានចូលជ្រៅទេហើយក៏សូមសរសើរដែរគឺមិនមានន័យថាជាការបញ្ចើទេគឺថាការដែលយើងធ្វើប៉ុណ្ណេះបានគឺថាយើងគឺថាខាងគណៈកម្មការគឺមិនអាឡត commitment គឺធ្វើយ៉ាងម៉េចដើម្បីឲ្យដំណើរការទៅរួចគឺថាដូច្នេះគឺសូមសរសើរហើយសូមបន្តទៅទៀតដើម្បីប្រយោជន៍ខ្មែរបាទហើយបន្តទៀតគឺខ្ញុំសូមជម្រាបសួរបងប្អូនយើងទាំងអស់ហើយបើសិនជាខ្ញុំនិយាយទៅមានការយ៉ាង កំឈោងញ៉ាំមិនសូមភ័យទោសផងខ្ញុំនិយាយគឺក្នុងនិយាយក្នុងន័យជាបុគ្គលជាផ្ទាល់អត់មានតំណែងណាទេដូចជានិយាយតាមទស្សនៈដែលខ្ញុំយល់ឃើញដូចសូមទុកជាមុនហើយបើថាខ្ញុំហើយបើសិនជាមានសំណួរណាដែលសួរខ្ញុំឆ្លើយបានខ្ញុំនឹងឆ្លើយបើសំណួរណាខ្ញុំឆ្លើយមិនបានគឺសូមភ័យទោសខ្ញុំសូមមេរសាសិទ្ធិខ្ញុំក៏ជាខ្មែរម្នាក់ដែលមានសិទ្ធិសេរីភាពក្នុងការមិនបញ្ចេញមតិបាទសូមអរគុណសួរការដែលខ្ញុំចូលក្នុង panel នេះនិយាយថាទីផ្សារហើយនឹង economy ដល់មានទៀងទៅគឺថាខ្ញុំអត់មានចំណេះខាងហ្នឹងនិយាយតាមត្រង់បណ្ដោយអត់មកហើយប៉ុន្តែឥឡូវឲ្យនិយាយបើឲ្យនិយាយត្រង់ហ្នឹងនិយាយបន្តិចចុះចឹងគាត់និយាយបានយកប៉ុណ្្នឹងចឹងណាហើយកុំកែកាសបែបប្រុសមិនប្រុសក៏សូមភ័យទោសខ្ញុំបើយើងសួរចេះវិញសួរជាចំណុចមួយសួរថាតើយើងស្គាល់សមរភូមិអត់ឥឡូវសូមបងប្អូនឆ្លើយសំណួរខ្ញុំបានទេតើម្នាក់ដែលបានចូលសមរភូមិទេភូមិអីអត់ទេចុះបើខ្ញុំសួរថាតើបងប្អូនមានដល់ចូលសមរភូមិជីវិតទេដូច្នេះគឺបើយើងនិយាយសមរភូមិជីវិតគឺអត់ខុសគ្នាប្រហែលទេតែហ៊ានច្បាំងនៅលើសមរភូមិស្គាល់ភូមិសាស្ត្ររបស់ខ្លួនឯងផ្ទាល់ពិតប្រាកដពេលណាវាយលុកពេលណាដកថយដល់របៀបយ៉ាងម៉េចវាយលុករបៀបយ៉ាងម៉េចដើម្បីជោគជ័យបើយើងអត់មាន strategy អត់មានយើងយុទ្ធសាស្ត្រយើងអាចបែកខ្មាំងបានទេក្នុងជីវិតយើងផ្ទាល់ជីវិតគ្រួសារជីវិតសហគមន៍ការប្រឡូកក្នុងសហគមន៍គឺសុទ្ធតែជាសមរភូមិទាំងអស់នឹងចំពោះទស្សនៈផ្ទាល់បាទចំពោះខ្ញុំនិយាយថាបើខ្ញុំនិយាយភាសាហ្នឹងទី1ដល់ការដកពិសោធន៍របស់ខ្ញុំផ្ទាល់ខ្ញុំមិនបានរៀនបានគ្រប់ពងពោះប្រហែលនេះក៏ដោយចែកដល់ស្រុកយើងចឹងផងគឺខ្ញុំបានចប់វិទ្យាល័យក្នុងឆ្នាំ71ហើយខ្ញុំបានចូលទៅរៀននៅមហាវិទ្យាល័យវិទ្យាសាស្ត្រនិងវិទ្យាសាស្ត្រប្រតិបត្តិឆ្នាំ1971គឺខ្ញុំរៀនបាន4ឆ្នាំនេះស្រុកយើងទឹកទៅនៅពលពតក៏ធ្វើការដូចគេនេះឯងគាត់ក៏មនុស្សខ្ញុំចូលចិត្តធ្វើ observation ក្នុងសម័យណាក៏ខ្ញុំត្រូវធ្វើការសង្កេតការយកមកពិចារណាខ្លួនឯងគឺធ្វើរបៀបយ៉ាងម៉េចដល់បើកាប់ឆ្កាព្រៃប្រហែលម៉ោងហើយគឺ estimate ខ្លួនឯងស្អីគឺនេះទាំងអស់ដល់មកដល់សម័យនិយាយតាមត្រង់អត់មានជាអង់គ្លេសកាលពីសម័យយើងនៅរៀនគេរៀនអង់គ្លេសមួយអាទិត្យ1ម៉ោងដែលខ្ញុំចាំច្បាស់ហើយ1ម៉ោងនោះគឺថាយើងប្រឡងបាក់ឌុបគឺធ្វើម៉េចបាន6 point គឺយើងចូលបាក់ឌុបឲ្យតិចបាន6 point បាក់កុលលេព្រោះកាលណាកុលលេគឺយើងធ្លាក់ឲ្យបាក់ឌុបទៅអាណោតយើងបានប៉ុន្មានក៏ដោយដូច្នេះខ្ញុំ keep up យ៉ាងម៉េចកុំឲ្យខ្ញុំធ្លាក់ចុះរបស់ដែលខ្ញុំមកចូលចិត្តខ្ញុំធ្វើយ៉ាងម៉េចឲ្យបានត្រឹមស្អីដែលមានមុខនេះខ្វាយមែនហើយខ្ញុំក៏ចូលបាក់ឌុបចឹងដែរដល់មករៀនស្រុកនេះរៀនបានបញ្ចប់នៅមហាវិទ្យាល័យនៅ University of Minnesota ខាងផ្នែក Mechanical Engineer ពេលរៀនក៏ខ្ញុំធ្វើការ observation គឺការដែលខ្ញុំរៀនសូត្រនៅស្រុកខ្មែរវាយ៉ាងម៉េចមករៀននៅស្រុកអាមេរិកវាយ៉ាងម៉េចអង់គ្លេសក៏ចេះគឺថាបានតែមើលទេបើនិយាយកើតសោះមកនិយាយមានទៀតដល់រហូតដល់ចេញធ្វើការគឺនិយាយកើតដែរលឺទូរស័ព្ទរោមកគឺញ័រណៃយកជើងអស់ទៅនិយាយតាមត្រង់ភ័យពុំនឹងនិយាយយ៉ាងម៉េចប៉ុន្តែទៅគេឯងជើងមួយថ្ងៃទៅមួយថ្ងៃរយូរគឺថាចិត្តទៅដូចគេដូចឯងចឹងទៅប៉ុន្តែការដែលរៀនសូត្រហ្នឹងដល់ដល់ពីការរៀនសូត្រខ្ញុំបានផែនការរបស់ខ្ញុំមួយគឺខ្ញុំបានតែនិយាយពីសមរភូមិខ្ញុំបាននិយាយជាមួយកូនខ្ញុំចឹងណាព្រោះពេលខ្ញុំនេះខ្ញុំរៀន full time ផងខ្ញុំស្ការ full time ផងជាមួយកូនខ្ញុំទាំងអស់កូន9នាក់ ណាឯងតែចាប់បាន Bachelor degree យូរ18ឆ្នាំគឺចំណាក់កម្រិតឲ្យ18ឆ្នាំទៅចាប់ Bachelor degree គេថាខ្ញុំឈួតប៉ុន្តែទៅ8 10ចាប់ high school កូន18ចាប់ Bachelor degree ខ្ញុំថាខ្ញុំឈួតទេខ្ញុំមានផែនការរបស់ខ្ញុំខ្ញុំមាន strategy របស់ខ្ញុំប៉ុន្តែកូនត្រូវស្ដាប់ខ្ញុំដែរកូនបង2នាក់គឺវាស្ដាប់តាមដែលខ្ញុំធ្វើផែនការឲ្យគឺបានចប់ដល់ប្អូន2នាក់គេថា I'm not going to let you dictate my life នឹងកូនស្រីខ្ញុំទៅគិតគេនិយាយថាគេមិនឲ្យខ្ញុំផ្ដាច់ការទៅលើជីវិតគេទេគេធ្វើអ្វីតាមតែចិត្តគេចង់បានខ្ញុំនិយាយសមរភូមិគឺខ្ញុំទៅដកខ្លួនថយវិញហើយព្រោះខ្ញុំមករុញទៅមុខឯងព្រោះរុញទៅមុខគេវាយតបទៅវិញខ្ញុំក៏បានបើថាឥឡូវបានណៃមិនចាប់18បានប៉ុន្តែខ្ញុំសុផុតឯង2ឆ្នាំពេលណៃនៅរៀននៅ college ក្រោយ2ឆ្នាំyou going to want your own កូនស្រីខ្ញុំ2នាក់គឺបានចាប់ Bachelor degree គឺអាយុ20ឆ្នាំគឺដល់ព្រោះដល់លើឲ្យចាប់អត់ថេលុយឲ្យផាក់ណាដូចនេះយុទ្ធសាស្ត្រក្នុងគ្រួសារដែលខ្ញុំអាចធ្វើកូនខ្ញុំអាចចាប់ Bachelor degree បានគឺដូចគេនេះឯងនៅទី1មកយុទ្ធសាស្ត្រខ្លួនឯងនេះវិញសួរថាខ្ញុំបានចាប់ផ្ដើម business ពីឆ្នាំ1996 ខ្ញុំក៏ទទួលស្គាល់នៅបរាជ័យមួយដែរពេលខ្ញុំបង្កើតក្រុមហ៊ុនមុនដំបូងគាត់ជាមួយបងប្អូននិយាយដល់មានការខ្មាស់អៀនគឺថាបងប្អូនបាច់បាក់គ្នាដែលខ្ញុំខ្វះរញ៉េមានតែបាច់បាក់គ្នាដែលខ្ញុំចង់ធ្វើអីដែលខ្ញុំចង់បានគេថាខ្ញុំផ្ដាច់ការគេយកខ្ញុំចេញប៉ុន្តែក្រុមហ៊ុនគឺដំណើរការបាន2ឆ្នាំគឺក្រុមហ៊ុនគឺចំណេញលុយដូច្នេះក្នុងរយៈពេល5ឆ្នាំជាមួយក្រុមហ៊ុនគឺ3ឆ្នាំគឺចំណេញលុយ2ឆ្នាំនេះខាតលុយខ្ញុំក៏ចាប់ផ្ដើមបង្កើតដល់យកខ្ញុំចេញខ្ញុំក៏បង្កើតក្រុមហ៊ុនមួយទៀតដែលតាក់ទងជាមួយនឹងមិត្តអាមេរិកានមួយដំណាប់ឆ្នាំគឺខ្ញុំគឺយើងខាតលុយតែមួយឆ្នាំលើកទី1ឯងដែលខាតលុយ16ឆ្នាំគឺយើងមិនមកនេះដូច្នេះគឺសួរថាតើនេះគឺជាសំណាងរបស់ខ្ញុំរួមនឹងការខិតខំរបស់ខ្ញុំមិនឆ្លើយទេសូមបន្តបងខ្ញុំនិយាយតទៀតសូមបងប្អូនពិចារណាទៅមុខទីចិត្តព្រោះខ្ញុំមិនដឹងថាចំពោះខ្លួនខ្ញុំផ្ទាល់ខ្ញុំគឺថាថាជាសំណាងកថាបានហើយជាការខិតខំកថាបានចាប់ផ្ដើមមុនដំបូងគឺយើងមិនសូវមានលុយកាក់ប្រមាណទេគឺស្អីក៏ធ្វើដែរធ្វើទាំងអស់មុខងារខ្ញុំមួយគឺតាំងពី assembly engineer QA finance មកចប់ប៉ុន្តែ background finance ក៏អត់មាន background QA ក៏មានគឺធ្វើមកចប់ទាំងអស់ហើយ partner គេមួយទៀតគឺគេខាងទទួលខុសត្រូវខាង sales marketing មួយឆ្នាំគឺយើងខាតលុយឆ្នាំទី2យើងចាប់ផ្ដើមចំណេញលុយហើយដល់ឲ្យយើងក្រុមហ៊ុនពង្រីកទៅគឺមុខងារខ្ញុំគឺក៏បន្ថយម្ដងតិចម្ដងតិចគឺពីដើមគឺពាក់មុខច្រើនមុខគឺអាឡារហេតដល់ឥឡូវគឺចុងក្រោយបំផុតនេះគឺខ្ញុំថាមុខងារខ្ញុំមួយគឺVP Finance គឺអស់លេងគឺខាង manufacturing ខាង QA ខាង engineer ក៏អស់ជោគជ័យរបស់យើងគឺយើងបានបង្កើតក្រុមហ៊ុននេះគឺយើងមាន employee យើងប្រហែលបានទុកជា140ទៅ150នាក់ធ្វើការក្នុងក្រុមហ៊ុនខ្ញុំហើយក្រុមហ៊ុននេះគឺគេបាន classify ទៅគឺយើង top 2 nationwide គឺ surprise មែនទែនពួកខ្ញុំអត់ដឹងដែរណាដល់ក្រុមហ៊ុនខ្ញុំដាក់លក់ទៅហើយគេទិញយើងមែនទែនគឺខ្ញុំ process ខ្ញុំអត់បានដោយរវល់ការងារច្រើនពេកខ្ញុំបានស្រាវជ្រាវនេះដល់ពេលក្រុមហ៊ុននឹងគេទិញទៅគេថាក្រុមហ៊ុនឯងជាលេខ2នៅក្នុងសហរដ្ឋអាមេរិកលេខ1គឺនៅ Massachusetts Millstone គឺជាប់លេខ1ខ្ញុំជាប់លេខ2គឺដូច្នេះគឺ
ក្រុមហ៊ុនដតីដែលការនៅឌីជីតាគឺមានច្រើនអាមានភក្តិខ្ញុំចឹងគឺខ្ញុំបាគេអស់អ្នកដែលមករកគឺដូច្នេះគឺក្រុមហ៊ុនខ្ញុំមកដល់មួយឆ្នាំមកនិយាយថាធ្វើខ្លះយើងធ្វើមិនរបស់ប្រើប្រាស់ពេលទាំងអស់ដូចជាបកគោថ្មីដល់ថា implant
Is introduction or is
Let's go ahead. Let him finish his. He's got another 6 minutes.
I don't know how much. What you say introduction is what? I didn't talk.
Okay.
That's okay.
I'm
back to you.
ខ្ញុំសុំទោសណាបាទពួកខ្ញុំ process I'm sorry បាទពួកខ្ញុំមកនេះនិយាយ biography and just talk about my biography បាទទោះខ្ញុំគឺក្នុងក្រុមហ៊ុនហ្នឹងគឺដល់គេទិញយកទៅហើយឥឡូវហ្នឹងគឺយើងចូលក្នុង Top 10 nationwide គឺក្រុមហ៊ុនថ្មីគឺមានបុគ្គលិកប្រហែលជា 3000 នាក់ហើយគេទុកខ្ញុំជា VP Finance ដែរប៉ុន្តែខ្ញុំធ្លាប់ទៅធ្វើការខ្លួនឯងដល់មកធ្វើការគេម្ដងទៀតដូចរឿងនេះពិបាកដែរប៉ុន្តែខ្ញុំប្រហែលជាធ្វើការ 2 ឆ្នាំទៀតខ្ញុំនឹងប្រហែលជាដកខ្លួនអាមេរិកថៃហើយក្នុងប្រដាប់ប្រដាដែលយើងធ្វើគឺយើងមាន data implant ដែលខ្ញុំនិយាយគឺថាយើងនឹងមួយឆ្នាំយើងពាក់កេប្រហែលជា1 លាន implant សម្រាប់1 million implant យើងមាន spinal implant យើងមានប្រដាប់ប្រដាដែលទាក់ទងនឹងជង្គង់គឺ hip and knee implant មាន surgical kit ដូចជាប្រដាប់ប្រដាវះខួរប្រដាប់ប្រដាវះspinal instrument គឺយើងមានប្រដាប់ប្រដាពេទ្យគឺយើងឌីលច្រើនហើយយើងទៅសម្រាប់មករោគចឹងដែរបាទប៉ុន្តែសួរភាពវិជាជោគជ័យនេះគឺទី1គឺមិត្តអាគារគេខ្លាចខ្ញុំត្រង់ថាខ្ញុំបកកែ estimate ហើយ forecast ជីវិត6 ឆ្នាំទៅ business ខ្ញុំ big forecast គឺ14 ដងខ្ញុំ big forecast ទៅ2 ដងក្នុង6 ឆ្នាំសួរហើយបើខ្ញុំអាចទីត្រូវណាបើធ្វើទីត្រូវចឹងមិនធ្វើគូទេបដ ாய் ទៅតាមពិតមិនមែនខ្ញុំទីត្រូវទេគឺខ្ញុំមើលតាមប្រវត្តិសាស្ត្រស្អីដែល company បានធ្វើខ្ញុំមើលតើយើងធ្វើបានប៉ុន្មានក្នុងមួយឆ្នាំហើយខ្ញុំ interview sales guy ហើយខ្ញុំ estimate តាមឆ្នាំក្រោយយើងអាច sell បានប៉ុន្មានហើយខ្ញុំ enforce ធ្វើយ៉ាងម៉េចដើម្បី sell បានប៉ុណ្ណឹងនៅជាដំណើរមួយគឺនិយាយមែនទេគឺជា strategy មួយដែរគឺឲ្យយើងស្គាល់សមត្ថភាពរបស់យើងហើយដើម្បីយើងជំរុញឬមួយយើងដកឃ្លៀបមកវិញបាទដូច្នេះគឺស្អីក៏នៅលើ accountability responsibility ស្អីដែលយើងថាយើងធ្វើហើយយើងមានទទួលខុសត្រូវយើងមាននិយាយថាយើងធ្វើ business ប្រថាធ្វើហើយខ្ញុំជឿថាស្អីដែលយើងតាក់ទងនឹងសង្គមក៏ដូចគ្នាដែរបើយើងថាហើយយើងមិនធ្វើក៏ទៅរួចដែរហើយបើយើងថាហើយយើងធ្វើដល់ភាពងឹតងល់ក៏យើងរកការជោគជ័យឃើញដែរយើងធ្លាក់ទឹកទីដែរខ្ញុំសូមអរគុណជាប៉ុណ្ណឹងសូមអរគុណ
If you would introduce yourself and then go right into your presentation. Yeah. And then we will follow here for your presentation. Okay? And then what I'd like to do is I'd like you to comment on each other's presentations because you're the experts, okay? And then we'll go to the questions. I'm always interested in knowing what you think of what's been presented. So she's going to introduce herself, go into her presentation. If Tommy Up's ready. Yeah, you can come over here if you like. Yeah. Come on up here.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Christine Srun. I'm going to be making a presentation today called The Case for a Center for Cambodian Studies in the United States. And I'm on a panel about marketing and economy, and it's not really about marketing or economy, but I guess we could say that we could use this presentation to talk about how we can market ourselves as Khmer here in the U.S. Before I begin, I just want to say how humbled I am, and I want to say thank you to the committee for putting together this summit. As part of my job responsibilities, I put together conferences as well, and I know how much work it is and how much time it takes. So really, thank you so much for doing this. I'm well aware in giving this presentation that I'm sitting among those who have been at the forefront of supporting Cambodians and Cambodian Americans for many, many years, and you've paved the way for so many of us, and I'm really honored to be here today. On my way to the summit this morning, despite the fact that I took an all-night flight from San Francisco and landed at Dulles at 5:30 a.m. and got no sleep, I could hardly contain my excitement when I was in the car. And walking through the front doors and seeing so many people here for this summit, dressed in Khmer clothes, speaking in Khmer, just being excited about talking about things related to Khmer was so inspiring. And to tell the truth, I've been waiting for this summit for a long time. I really have. It's so inspiring to hear Cambodian voices rather than others speaking about Cambodians. I think it's time that we speak for ourselves. Oh, I guess maybe perhaps you You're wondering who I am. I'm sorry. I forgot to introduce myself. Maybe you don't know. Okay. In case you're wondering, my father is Khmer. He was born in Kapot in Danitukmia, and he came to the United States in the 1960s as part of some of the groups that came to study abroad. Long story short, he met my mother, who is not Khmer, and they got married and stayed in the United States. And I have two sisters, so the three of us are Khmer, Scottish. I never knew that what being Cambodian meant growing up. I never did. My father never said anything about it, and I think that's because even though he was in the U.S., he lost his whole family, like many of you, in the Khmer Rouge. So I never really knew what that meant, and it wasn't until I went to college that I found out the story of what had happened with the American bombing and with the Khmer Rouge and the Civil War and whatnot. And ever since that point, I really wanted to just get involved and do whatever I could for this community. Now you know who I am. Some of you may know, or maybe you don't know, that I served for 4 years as the director of the Center for Southeast Asian Studies at Ohio University on the East Coast, and I really, really loved that position. And one of the things that I liked about it is I got to run something called the Khmer Studies Forum. It's kind of hard to see there, but these are just some samples of the things that we did at this forum. It was a conference all about Cambodia. And it was wonderful because we had scholars come from Cambodia, from Australia, from England, from within the United States, kind of like we're doing here to talk about things related to Cambodia and Khmer people. It was a gathering of students, scholars, medical professionals, artists, filmmakers, and others, anyone who wanted to talk about Cambodia. And when I first put it on, I didn't think anybody would come. Who was going to come to Ohio to talk about Cambodians? Because there weren't very many living there, but it ended up being one of the most inspiring experiences I've ever had. The last time I had that forum was in 2014, before I moved from Ohio to the San Francisco Bay Area to be with my husband, and I've truly missed this meeting of the minds that was part of the forum and what we have here today. And I think that's where I'm going to start with this idea of the meeting of the minds. Can you move it down a little bit? Move the screen up so they can see. Something. So we're talking about a meeting of the minds. What if there were a place here in the United States that could serve as a centralized resource for information, for education, for networking, for leadership development, for community outreach, or for even identity exploration? What if there was one place where we could do all of that? What if we could have what we're experiencing right now on an ongoing basis? And you might be asking, well, we're doing it now. Aren't there places that are dedicated to Cambodian studies? And the answer is both yes and no. And let's start with the no answer. Other than what we're doing today, there really isn't much going on academically called Cambodian studies. While there's more awareness of diversity, when we use the term Asian American, it usually doesn't include much about Cambodians or Khmer. It usually refers to the larger groups and those that have been here in the United States longer. As I mentioned, I didn't know until college anything about what had happened in Cambodia. And I took a class called the Asian American Experience, and I was really excited to take it. And throughout the course of the 15 weeks in the semester, we spent about 13 weeks on Chinese Americans, Japanese Americans, Korean Americans, Filipino Americans, and then at the very last week, we had one chapter called the Southeast Asian Americans, and all Southeast Asians were lumped into one group. And I don't have to tell anyone in this room that the experiences of a Cambodian coming to the U.S. are very different from those of someone who was Thai coming as an immigrant to the U.S. So on the one hand, the answer is no, there isn't a lot going on with Cambodian studies. But on the other hand, yes, there is. There are thousands of Khmer in the U.S. like yourselves who are working on Cambodian issues. And just to give a couple of examples, in the social service arena, many of you are involved in this. There are associations throughout the U.S. that are connecting Cambodians to social services, healthcare, housing, public assistance, and so forth. And some of these were the very first associations for Cambodians to be created in the United States. But sometimes, even though there are so many, sometimes it seems like they work in isolation. Sometimes there are many groups doing the same thing rather than coordinating with each other. Many of us who are part of these associations participate in community projects that support Cambodians in many ways, but sometimes we feel like we have to reinvent the wheel. For example, how many times have any of you who are part of a nonprofit wanted to write a big grant, wanted to write a proposal for a big grant so you could do all the things that your organization is designed to do? But the thought of writing that proposal, of writing a needs statement, of finding the statistics to support your argument, of developing a budget, sometimes it seems just too overwhelming for you to do, and you just say, forget it, I'm not going to do it. Or how many times as a group have you developed a project only to find out that another group is doing the exact same project? I think that happens pretty often. As I said, in academics, there are scholars who are working on Cambodia, but we're isolated. Okay, I didn't know until I came here how many PhDs there are who are working on Cambodian issues. Why is that? Why are we so disconnected? One reason is that for a long time, for many different reasons, a lot of what we would call Cambodian studies was non-Cambodians studying about Cambodians rather than having indigenous type of work going on. Cambodians were really those who were studied rather than those who were doing the studying. And it's wonderful to see that that's now changing and that we're bouncing back. I have nothing against PhDs. I have one myself. But sometimes at functions that are supposed to be about Cambodians, they're done at such a level that anybody who doesn't have a PhD is not relevant, or it's something that I can't really understand. And I think that we need to move away from that. Okay. To be fair, there are a number of associations and think tanks that are run by Cambodians, like the Center for Khmer Studies, the Cambodia Institute for Cooperation and Peace, the Center for Advanced Study. Those are all in Cambodia. There isn't one here in the U.S. that's comprehensive like that. And while those places have incredible physical resources, if you've ever been there, if you can't go there, then you can't use them. Okay. Culture and the arts, I think in this area, Cambodians have, are very strong. We've created a lot of dance programs, music programs, things to bring the arts back to share with the broader public as well as to enhance in our community. But if you're not in a community like Silver Spring or Long Beach or Lowell, sometimes those kinds of programs are out of reach. In Athens, Ohio, where Ohio University was, I think there were maybe 5 Khmer people. So we weren't going to have a dance group or a music group with just that small number of people. Okay. And the last thing I'll bring up is about business. One thing that I think you would agree about Khmer in Cambodia is that they're really entrepreneurial. Khmer in Phnom Penh, they open up lots of businesses, they try all kinds of new things. And I remember when I went to Cambodia for the first time in the 1990s, it was just after UNTAC had left and there was a lot of renewed optimism about doing business there. And I had rented a flat near Sakako. And just on that one street, there were 25 English schools that opened up that year. So I think, and I think you would agree that people in Cambodia are really willing to try businesses. And I don't mean to say that they all succeed, but that willingness is there. Here in the US, we have so many brilliant business people, including some who are in this room. But it's much riskier to try to start a business here in the US. You need much more capital, you need a little bit more support before you can do that. But we have a lot of our youth who really want to try. They really want to become entrepreneurs. But it's hard to just go up to somebody if you happen to know that they're a business person and say, hi, I'd like to learn from you. Can you help me open a business? We don't have the channels to do that. We need some kind of a method for that knowledge to be passed down. You can't just go up to someone and ask. Okay, and then the last thing is advocacy. Many of us are involved in advocacy efforts around the country. As you know, we've been working toward stopping the deportation of the Minnesota 8 with some success, some not so successful efforts. There have been a number of efforts to create Cambodian Genocide Remembrance Day and many other things that advocate for Khmer issues. Okay, so going back, there are two answers. No, there are not Cambodian studies going on, and yes, there are. And they're both part of the rationale for me wanting to talk about having a Center for Cambodian Studies. As I mentioned before, we're not connected. We spend a lot of time reinventing the wheel. How many times have you been planning a huge event and then found out that a neighboring organization is doing an event on the exact same day, and the resources that could have come to your event are going to another one, and vice versa? We're not connected. We don't seem to communicate very well about certain things. About 2 months ago, I had a film screening of a film called Days of Justice that features some people in this room. And I'm pretty good at social media, I'm pretty good at advertising, and I worked for a PR firm for a number of years. And still, after the event was over, even though it was successful, so many Cambodian people said, how come I didn't know about this event? I didn't hear about it. Oh, because I was at the Srun party in San Jose, or something like that, because there were things going on at the same time. And as I mentioned, I think that happens quite often. So what if there were a center in the United States that could gather a lot of this information together, rather than having it all in separate areas? And more specifically, what if we could have a hub or a clearinghouse, if you're familiar with that word, a clearinghouse, for all kinds of things, for research materials, for publications, for grant proposals, so you don't have to rewrite a whole grant proposal, listings of translators, listings of business persons, archives of events. If you're recording this, where's that recording going to go? Employment opportunities, subject experts, even collections of children's books. I mean, I think if we had some kind of a comprehensive center, all the things that we're doing could be housed together. A Center for Cambodian Studies could provide opportunities for all, and especially for Cambodian Americans, to both use and contribute to its resources. I just want to make clear that I'm not arguing that we don't already have the expertise or the resources. I'm just saying that we work independently and they're kind of scattered. So the center could be a point of contact. And it also could be a point of contact for overseas Khmer organizations, knowing that they would have this center to come to. So I'm seeking not to replace, but rather to pull together the different resources that are out there. That was kind of a long introduction to tell you what I'm hoping to do. What I'm hoping to do is to create a Center for Cambodian Studies, and the only reason I'm using Cambodia instead of Khmer is because there is a Center for Khmer Studies in Cambodia, but this name is something that could be certainly changed. As a draft mission statement, what I'm hoping that we can do is to create an independent nonprofit center based in the United States that serves as a leading source of information, education and research, programming, networking, and outreach related to Cambodia and Cambodians in diaspora. So what will we use as a model? how would we do this if we really wanted to go ahead and do this? After I left Ohio University and moved to the Bay Area, I took a position with a nonprofit organization called the Center for Laos Studies, which is very similar to what I'm hoping to do here. And while I was really sad to leave my position as Director of Southeast Asian Studies at Ohio, I thought it was going to be really interesting to be part of an organization that focused on just one community. Because that's what I would love to do. I think I would love my job every single day if I could work just on Cambodia and Cambodian issues. So some of you may know this person. This is Dr. Vinya Sisma, who likes to tell me that he's related to since he's a Mud. Anyway, Dr. Vinya opened up the Center for Laos Studies in 2006. And every day, it's based in the Bay Area, and he was so passionate about the work that he was doing, and every day was just a joy to work with him. Okay. It was actually a staff of 3, Vinya, myself, and one other person. And yet we had all of these programs going, and people would call and think that we had a staff of 100 or 150. Within the first 10 years, these are just some of the programs that CLS was able to do. They had an international conference on Lao studies every 3 years, rotating between different universities. They have a study abroad program in Laos. They have a journal of Lao studies, and they have a library, 3,000 volume library. They have a Lao oral history archive. And what I like the most about CLS is it's kind of what we would call a one-stop shop or a clearinghouse. When people have questions about the Lao in the US, they go right to CLS, right? And I think that would be a great thing to have all of our resources in one kind of an area. And I don't necessarily mean a physical area. I mean more of a virtual area. If someone wants to know something about the Overseas Khmer Summit, I'm not going to answer that question myself, but I might be able to refer that person to local Dunya or something like that. And I think that CLS can serve as a model for a potential Center for Cambodian Studies. And since I work there, I have a good idea about how it works. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel when we do things. We just need to change it a little bit. We have a framework. All of you are already doing work in this area, in these different areas that I mentioned. In the brief time I have here, and I'm almost finished, I won't attempt to list too many goals here. That would actually be the job of a board of directors, not of one person. But some of the things I was thinking about as overarching goals is it would be great to find, as I said, or to found a user-friendly centralized resource for information, program, and services. And I wanted to add user-friendly because there are a lot of archives out there, but sometimes they're way in the back of a library at a university, and if you don't have an ID and you don't make an appointment, you can't necessarily use those archives. And sometimes you just don't have the resources to get up and go to that place. But we want to do something that's user-friendly, something that's accessible from your home. Second, to serve as a liaison between community groups and organizations, academic institutions, businesses, and other associations. And finally, to actively support the current social, cultural, professional programs that are out there. Just one more time, I'm not seeking to create something brand new. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel, but we want to just gather resources together. Okay. So what this is really, it's just an introduction. It's a call to action. I think now is the time. We have so many people who are doing great things, and we also have youth who are really interested in following in their footsteps. So this is a call to action. I think that what can be done is the Center for Cambodian Studies can be created as a nonprofit, and we need to establish a presence. So the nonprofit would be your legal presence. I'm not sure that we'd be able to have a physical presence at this point because brick and mortar is extremely expensive, but we could have a virtual presence. We could have an online presence, an online community, an online library, an online resource center. And I'm going to very respectfully disagree with something you said earlier when you had said that the community doesn't have the kind of resources to create a great website or to have a great social media presence. And I think that's a little bit incorrect. Living by Silicon Valley, there's a huge group called Cambodians in Tech, and that's specifically what they want to do. They want to do these kinds of community things using their skills for Cambodian purposes. And finally, just after it's established, we want to create a reputation as a leading US-based place, meaning clearinghouse, think tank, school, institute, civic center, community association, whatever you want to call it, created for and by Cambodians in the diaspora, something like the Center for Laos Studies. And this could be something that could be done by anyone in this room, I think. I think we have the know-how to do it. And I think if we're honest with ourselves, we will say that sometimes we're not the best at working together. But I think we need to change that, and we need to come together in order to have something that everyone can benefit from. That's it.
Terrific. Thank you so much. Wonderful presentation. Dr. Sue, thank you very much.